Whisper here, and we're going to be playing some more Sorcery Part 1. It looks like this will probably be the end of Part 1. Not sure how much we actually have left, but our destination, Kare, or however you say it, is right here. We are in the town just before it. Look back of where we came from real quick. We started right here in this little border town on the other side of the gate. We never did anything in here, but presumably this is the castle we got sent from. We went through the gates, around here, through Cantopani, through this forest. We went into some Shanker mines here and came out all the way up here. Walked through Cristatanti. There's some old giant ruins here. Went through some giant caves here. Went to Dumpus. Went to Uristanti. Came around this way somewhere. There's not much of a line to connect here from here, so we took a mysterious path through here. We went into Biritanti and then quickly got kicked out and had to walk around it. Went through here, went through a witch's hut, fought like a ninja warrior or something in the woods here, an assassin. Went to Turpani, went to some interesting cave dungeon place over here, and that's where we are right now. So, let's go to Kare now, let's walk there. Here we go. Is this actually literally the end? If it just says, like, the end. Yeah, that's what it's doing. I could have ended this in the last video, but I guess we'll just start part 2, since this is gonna be crazy short. Okay, your journey through the Shamutanti Hills is completed. Along the way, you have gained the friendship of Flanker the Assassin, and have been given 2 useful keys to the cells of the Red Eyes and to the gates of Kare. You have collected a couple of magical artifacts, 2 giant's teeth. You are armed with a long sword and your original sword, and have 4 rations and 34 gold pieces and a spell book. Okay. Sure. Cloud save spell name, what? That's weird. Okay, so I guess we're going to part 2 here. The Crown of Kings has been stolen by the Archmage and taken across the backlands to Mompang. You have been sent to get it back. Should you fail, the whole of Kakabad will surely fall. Is this just replaying this again? Oh, it's recapping our adventure, I guess. From the I literally just did this, but we'll read it again. From the outpost settlement in Analand, you crossed the Shamutanti Hills. Along the way, you ventured down a goblin mine and faced a terrible ogre, spared the life of a defeated assassin, and fought and killed the dreaded Manticore. You faced cruel twists of fate and deadly traps. To survive, you used your blade often and your magic frequently, but always acted cautiously, with honor and compassion. Your spirit guide changed as you changed, becoming the gorilla. But now, all of that seems a distant memory, for you are approaching Kare, the city port of traps. Oh, this city is huge. It looks like this entire game world, or map for this one, is going to be inside the city, so that's interesting. Founded on a ford of the Jabaji River, Kare was once a camp for the pirates who ambushed merchants sailing sometimes. You would go around it if you could, but on the far side is the North Gate, the only entrance to the Backlands, and the next stage of your journey. For the good of the kingdom, you must enter the city board of traps and make it out alive. Okay, so we gotta get through this massive city here. Mansion Row, Artist Quarter, Dwarf Town, the Fallen Quarter. This is gonna be interesting. Part 2, Kare, City Port of Traps. So here we are, starting out here. Just click on myself. Twilight already. The great city of Kare has loomed large on the horizon all day, but has been slow to reach. The path tracing great loops back and forth through a deep and narrow pass. There it is in the distance here. Walk on. You have not seen a living soul except once, when a dark figure raced across the hilltops overhead and then was lost from view. So you are naturally cautious when you round a bend in the path and see a beggar crouched low against a rock, muttering to himself. So walk up to the beggar here. You stop out of sight behind an outcrop, but the beggar does not look like much of a threat. Just walk up to him. You call a greeting and stride over, and the man leaps to his feet, drawing a short stick from inside his cloak. Who goes there? He demands. What's your business in Kare? I'm a traveler. The man pokes his stick at you. A traveler. Traveling where? Kare. Obviously Kare. But why? He prods harder. Answer me, or you'll face the consequences. What consequences? Better you don't find out, he replies darkly. I am the city guard. No one enters Kare except through me. And then, despite his age and clear ill health, he comes at you, waving his stick. I won't fight you, you tell him. You are unarmed. He waves the stick close to your face, jabbing a few times, but you push the point aside with one hand. All right then, he declares. We'll settle this fairly. He tosses the stick to one side and raises his fists. The knuckles are blackened with scabs. I still won't fight you. I still won't fight you, you reply. I mean it. The beggar makes a short braying noise like a laugh, and then lamps you on the nose. It is surprisingly painful. He is readying for another swing. Did he do 2 damage to stamina to us? You step back, and with that, the fight seems to drain from him. He sits down again, suddenly sad. Very well, he moans. You're right, I suppose. I can't defend the city on my own. You're very brave, you tell him kindly. Am I? He asks, looking up. I don't feel brave. I'm still alive. Doesn't that make me a coward? He shivers. You don't have any food, do you? He asks sadly. You rummage in your pack and pull out a hunk of bread and cheese. Here. The man grabs it and eats gleefully, like a wild dog. He murmurs and grumbles to himself as he does so. You take pity on the man. Come with me. I'm going into Kare. The soldier considers your offer for a moment as he chews. You're sure? I know the word for the wall, but they will not want to let me through the gate. Sounds like we can help each other. He clambers slowly to his feet. A gleam of hope has entered the poor man's eyes. Very well then, stranger. A trade. So he made a little buddy there, after getting punched in the face. The beggar walks a few strides ahead, the ghost of a military pace in his step. What's your name? You ask. Captain Thomas of the 4th Legion, responsible for the southern perimeter. He knocks his bony heels together. At your service. What are you doing out here, soldier? We were sent out to investigate sightings. A whole legion kitchen now. He won't answer, just shakes his head and points sharply downwards. The path winds through coarse and thick grass. Kare squats in a basin in the hills like a stagnant, festering pool. You turn one corner, then another, and then the stone walls of the city are looming over you. Okay, let's go to the end of the pass. The walls weren't built to keep anything out, Thomas says. They were built to keep people in. Kare is one gigantic trap itself. And you want to go back? Of course I do, he shrugs. It's my home. You could scramble up the slope to the right to get a better view of the wall. Let's do that first. You scramble up the slope for a better view of the wall, leaving Thomas below. It is formed of staggering, man-sized stone blocks held together with gallons and gallons of mud and loam dredged from the base of the river. It curves away in both directions, unbroken except for the gate. Then you see something that stops you in your tracks. There's a guard posted on the battlement above the gate, watching the clearing. You call down to your companion. What should we do? Don't worry, he replies, tapping his temple. I knows the watchword, don't I? He strides forward confidently. You follow into the clearing. The guard on the wall raises a hand to shield his eyes from the sun. Who goes there? He bellows, friend or foe? You wait, and Thomas cries back, friend, and the watchword is Cantabani. The guard pauses a moment, then lowers his bow. Approach. Thomas turns and smiles at you. Okay, that seems safe then. Ow. The south gate stands before you. It is as tall as 2 men, and would be broad enough to ride 3 horses through, if only it were open. But instead, it is locked, and there is no other way into the city. Luckily, of course, you have a key. Over to you, says Thomas, stepping back. So let's use that key. You quickly remove the Spin Chief's key from your pack and slip it into the lock. The tumblers click as the key turns. Thomas hangs back. Good work, but do you think it's safe to go through? Whoops, I didn't mean to click that. I'm sure it is. What didn't sound good? I'm sure it is, you reply confidently. Thomas considers that for a moment, then nods. Well, no matter. I'm a Karean guard, not a criminal. I'm not afraid. And with that, he slips through the door and dashes away. You hear nothing for a moment, then the sound of shouting voices and feet rushing away. Slipping inside, you find the yard deserted. The old soldier has cleared it for you. You push the great gate closed, key still in the lock. Whoever the next ruffian to visit Kare may be, he will be grateful for your little gift. That's dumb to do. So I guess it paid off twice to have that guy there. You pause just inside the shadow of the gate. To your left is a low stone building with metal bars for windows. You hurry over to the wall of the building and crouch down, a heartbeat before 2 soldiers come around the corner. The building means you're covered, but if they spot you, you will have nowhere to run. Perhaps using magic might give you an advantage. So wait. You watch the soldiers stride up to the gate. The guards slide open a small panel as head into the door and look through for a moment. Then they snap it shut and march away. You straighten up and hear a noise through the barred window of the stone building. A sneeze. Let's look. The building might be useful. It might be a storehouse, or better yet, an armory. Standing on tiptoes, you peer in between the bars. Not a storehouse, then. The building is quite bare, except for which an old man is sitting. You wave at the window, but the old man doesn't look up. He seems to be staring very determinedly at the bench, or perhaps he is asleep where he sits. Let's just forget about that guy. Sounds like a criminal. Leaving the building and its occupant, you hurry away across the yard. The road leads, well, it said there's a town of ne'er-do-wells, but I guess you can assume maybe the guards are good people at least, so maybe this is a legit criminal. I don't know. The road leads away in both directions. You don't have time to consider them too carefully. There will be more guardsmen on patrol soon enough. So let's see, we can go left by this thing here, which looks like a farmy type house or maybe a church, I don't know. It has a tower and a little thing here. And then into another gatehouse here though. And this leads more into the city, so probably not wise to go into another little fortified structure here. So let's go right. Night is falling. Luckily, by the roadside is a small inn, which will make a perfect place to stay before you lose yourself in the winding streets of Kare. Alternatively, you could walk into the fields to the right and sleep out under the stars. From somewhere nearby, you hear a low, baying howl. That doesn't sound good. Let's stay in the inn and not get mauled by a beast. A sign outside the inn proclaims it the Crooked Finger. And this is interesting. It hasn't done this before. It took us to a little mini-map of the inn. That's cool. So let's go on in. You go inside and find an empty bar. The bartender is snoozing at the counter. Clearly, trade is bad. And all we can do is approach the bar, so let's do that. The bartender wakes with a snortle as you approach. Greetings, traveler, he yawns. You'll be looking for directions to somewhere else, I suppose. I wish to take a room. No trouble, the innkeeper says. 7 gold pieces. Let's haggle. 7 gold pieces is robbery, you tell him. The innkeeper shrugs. Kare prices might not be what you're used to, he says, but you can sleep in the street if you prefer, and then maybe you'll see why they're as high as they are. Let's go ahead and do that. We have money to spare, and it's early on. I appreciate the warning. You put 7 gold pieces down on the counter. The innkeeper nods. The stairs are over there. Okay, let's go up here. The man shows you upstairs to a room. It seems clean enough. There are no rats on the bed, and the linen seems to have been washed at least once this month. These are high standards for a clear room. Can I just draw like a weird, stupid pattern here? Just walk around in a corner and then, oh no, it wouldn't let me. Just do an awkward pace down here and then come back. After your long day of walking, the thought of a real bed is a welcome relief. You settle down. Let's save the rations. And we still healed up here. You do not need to eat more today. The sounds of the city drift to you on the night air, shouts and screams, and the occasional distinct howl. You doze fitfully. So, it's good that we weren't out in whatever's happening out there. Your dreams, when they come, are of the wall, like a towering monster, drenched in moss and slime. The gate, its wide open maw. As you watch, it reaches down with fingers made from flagpoles and skewers the old beggar man, lifting him flailing into the air. As you make your way inside, guards appear and disappear from holes in the ground like burrowing moles. And it is as though you can see the crown, sitting in the dust on the far side of the north gate, so close and yet out of reach. Why is that? Oh, that's where we've been. Okay, got it. Oh, I can zoom out to the map. I like that. That's cool. Okay, let's go back downstairs here. You feel better for your night's rest. Going downstairs, you find the bartender miserably counting coins on the bar. Need anything? He asks hopefully. Directions you apply. The innkeeper laughs. Just follow your nose. Everything in Kare stinks, so it'll take you where you need to go. You shake your head at his useless advice and take your leave of the inn. Let's head to the road again here. Outside, the air tastes fresh. It has rained a little overnight. A little distance from here, a busy crossroads marks the start of the city. Following the track for a few minutes, you reach a junction where 3 roads begin. These are the outskirts of Kare. Huts huddle like beggars on either side of the tracks leading uphill into the city port. It must be clear to everyone around that you are a stranger in these parts. The city's inhabitants, a multitude of malevolent creatures who would kill for the laces of your boots, turn to watch you as they pass. You are sport, a figure to be jostled and robbed, and one who will most likely fall prey to the strange, elaborate system of traps laid across Kare by the early settlers to protect themselves from one another. Let's just head somewhere. Time to choose your road. The north gate awaits. Just at that moment, a cart rolls down the road from the right and careens around the corner to take the main track ahead. On its back are stacked several crates. One teeters for a moment, then falls near your feet, its lid cracking over. You wave for the driver to stop, but they do not see you. The cart rattles away up the road. You notice a purple liquid leaking from the side of the crate. Oh, that's gonna be bad, but we gotta look. Kneeling down in the mud, you prise open the crate with your fingers. Inside is a pile of smashed bottles. Thick purple liquid swills about, littered with shards of glass. There are perhaps 4 bottles still intact, but you recognize the smell. It is Blimberry, a potion with many healing properties. You take all the bottles, wipe them down as best you can on the grass nearby, and put them into your pack. A lucky find indeed. So Blimberry juice will heal you and also do for a meal. Okay, cool. That's very useful. So we could turn right and go by here in these fields here. Flagdown or whatever. Festival of Thieves. Or we could go straight down the city here. And whatever's over here. Or we could turn left and take this route. There's a big mansion thing here. That leads to Dwarf Town. So it's Dwarf Town. Festival of Thieves. Or who knows, but this way. Let's go. Let's go this way. You follow a group of youngsters with packs up the road. Homes, hovels line the track, and strange faces appear at the windows, watching you as you pass. Then from around the bend ahead, a troop of guards appear. Try and blend in, or we can dart into a home. Let's do that. You stride quickly forward to join the group of youngsters and attempt to mimic their way of walking. The group are talking about where they will stay, the Wayfarer's Rest, or the Meat and Cleaver. right slump to your shoulders as the guards pass right by with nothing more than a derogatory comment. A pleasant herbal smell drifts from the doorway of a nearby hut. Okay. Continue. So we can enter the hut. Let's just keep going. We don't need to barge in there, I guess. And we just got 4 healing potions. So we're good on herbal things. You continue up the narrow road. It is packed either side with mud brick hovels, but most are deserted. A few creatures pass by, heads turned down. They do not look at you. This part of the city port is barely habited, so should be safe enough to pass through quickly. You pass a drinking fountain, dribbling into a chipped stone bowl. Let's just keep on trucking. You leave the fountain untested and continue up the road. Alright. This part of town feels abandoned. The drying strip of sand left behind by a falling tide. A little further on, the road approaches the first stone building you have seen since the hut by the gates. It has windows of glass and a wide yard inside its uneven, high wall. Whoever lives here is wealthy and understandably cautious. They have, however, left a fine stallion, only loosely tied up outside. Let's not steal their horse. Let's go to the house, though. Oh, we got another little mini-map here. You step through the gate of the house into its wide front yard. It was once a magnificent place, with fish ponds, now stagnant, fountains, now cracked and dry, and small groups of quiet trees, now overgrown and gnarled like whispering old men. The building itself has fared no better. One side has collapsed in on itself completely, and the other leans perilously to one side. So we can look in the trees, approach the building. Let's look at the fountain first. Oh, and I did a little loop there. One of the fountains is still bubbling by the side of the building. Oh, why does it want me to drink from everything? The water here is probably pumped directly from the sewers. You do not drink. Well, I guess we can look at the trees, why not? You pause to look around in the trees and shrubs. That's when you notice the 2 gleaming eyes staring back at you. A giant bat hangs upside from one of the branches, watching you. Oh, it's angry though. You hold the bat's stare for another moment, then walk on, but the rustling in the leaves behind you is pretty clear, and you spin around in time to see the creature coming for you with its talons drawn. You draw your sword quickly and engage the creature. The bat's great wings buffet at your face, making it hard to see. You slash out at the creature, hoping to cut off its wings. As the bat dodges back, cutting with the hooks on its wingtips, the giant bat tumbles backwards into a tree in a crash of branches. It flaps its wings threateningly, clearly trying to frighten you. Another chance follows. Pushing off a tree trunk, you thrust forward. The giant bat tries to cover itself, but is too slow. The bat is flying erratically now. It flutters upwards. Oh, we could have beaten that. You drop into a crouch. The giant bat screams through the air, but you repel it with your blade. You escape mostly unscathed. Let's finish it off. I don't think we even had to take any damage. Should we try and do it again without any damage? Okay, defended. Hit him there. Just barely beat him there. And then we'll put everything into it. house once more. So hopefully they'll be grateful that we destroyed a monster bat. And hopefully they aren't like, that was our prized pet. The front door is as wide as 2 men and stands imposingly sealed. A small path winds around the back of the house. Let's try the door, I guess. It'd be weird to just creep around more. You stride up the steps to the door of the grand house. You walk up to the door and knock just to make sure. No one answers. You knock a second time louder. As you wait to see if you will be answered, you notice a curious detail. There are deep grooves carved into the wood of the door, radiating outwards from the keyhole. It's as though something had exploded out through it, or perhaps attached itself on the outside to force its way into the lock. A slate skitters off the roof and smashes itself on the ground to one side of you. You drop to your knees and put your eye to the keyhole. At first you can see nothing, and then the darkness inside begins to take shape. You make out a long, lonely hallway running back into the house. The walls are lined with framed pictures, and the surfaces with expensive ornaments. It doesn't look like the house has been emptied at all. A wooden rail runs along the inside of the hallway. You try the door. Locked, of course. A cool wind moves the trees in the yard, making evil whispering sounds. What spell do we need? I forget what the lock one is. Let's take a look real quick. Top. Okay. So let's try a top here. Alright. D-O-B. 1 stamina, that's fine. But a locked door is of no consequence. Once you have woven your spell, the great oak door complains once and then gives way, swinging open to reveal a dark hallway beyond. Alright. You step inside the great stone house. A cold silence descends, quite different from the dusty heat outside. This place feels like it has not been lived in for decades, although judging by the lack of dust, it may not have been quite so long. Floorboards creak underfoot. At the end of the hallway is a sealed door. Is that a chink of light just visible beneath the frame? Let's see. Should we stop here for an episode and then pick up back exploring this house next time?